Before we can develop Java applications using the Java Swing, we need to first of all install the Java Swing window builder on our IDE. And we are dealing with Eclipse IDE. So to install the Java Swing window builder on the Eclipse IDE, we need to go to the help and we click on install new software. In the pop-up that shows, let me maximize it, you would see what they refer to as the work with. And in the work with, this is where we would select the URL we want to install our component to enable us build our Java UI applications using the Java Swing. So when you click on the work with, you would see the name of your Eclipse. I'm using Eclipse 2019-3. You see a URL for it. So you select any of them, assuming we select the first one. So we would see the components that we can install. So let me expand this again. We need to go to the general purpose tools and we expand that. If we cannot find the general purpose tools in the URL selected, you can select a different URL. Let's pick this one and see. So again, we can see the general purpose tools. So under the general purpose tools, we need to go and select all the swing components. So we have all the swing components, we select all of them. We select all the SWT components. And we select all the window builder components. So after this, we can click on next and we click on next again, and we need to read the agreement and accept the agreement, and we click finish. So it will download. As you can see, the progress bar is 49%. So when it downloads, it will ask you to restart your Eclipse before the components can be used. So let's wait for it to download, install, and it would restart. Let us understand that we'll need internet to be able to download. So it's asking us to restart. We simply click restart and we are good to go. So our Eclipse has restarted. We can now create a new Java Swing application and see what we can do. To enable us create a new Java Swing applications, let us first of all create a new Java project inside which we will have our Java Swing application. So let's call it Swing project and we click on next and we click on finish. So our Java Swing project has been created. Let's create a package for it. We right click on the source, select new, and we pick a package. So call it Swing package, and we click on finish. So we now need to create our Java Swing application. We go to the package, we right click, go to new, and we are not picking a new class. We go to other, and in the other we are looking for window builder, and in the window builder we want a new window application. We click on it, select next, we give it a name. Let's call it Swing Test or Swing UI. We click on finish. So our Java Swing UI class has been created, and we can now go ahead to modify the codes or modify the interface to suit whatever purpose we want it for. So as we can see, we have the two views, the source and the design view. So whenever we are in the source view, we are only editing code, and we can switch between the two by clicking on either the source or design. So if we click on design, it should take us to the design page. So we can see the design view of our UI application. Let us close this so we can have space to do what we want. So this is our design view. If we want to go back to the source code, we simply click on source. So we can be switching between the two to write our codes or modify the UI. So again, the source view or the code view will provide for us an interface to view, review, or write our codes to enable our application to perform some tasks, while the design view will give us the visual layout of our application. In the design view, we have what's referred to as the structure, and the structure basically displays the components that you have in your application. So we can pick a component and put on the application and see if it appears there. But before we do that, we need to change the layout of our frame. Let's select the absolute and click on the layout. So whatever item we pick, where we place it, that is where it will appear. We'll come later to play with some of these layouts to see what they do. So assuming we pick a button and we bring it to the application, this is where the button will be. Assuming we pick a label and we bring it, the label will be where we place it. So we can pick another radio button and we place it. So we can see the components that we add are appearing in the structure and their properties are shown below. So we can edit the properties of each component. When you select a component, you can edit the properties of that component. We'll come later to do that, but before we do that, let us run it to see how it looks like. So when we run it, this is how our application will look like. So we maximize, and this is how it looks like. We'll simply delete the components and play with some other things to see. So aside the structure, we have what is referred to as the palette, and the palette is just housing the components that we'll be using for our UI design. So in the palette, we have what is referred to as the containers, and the containers are just components that can contain other components. Then we have the layout, which we can use to design the appearance or layout of our UI. And we also have other components we can use. We have the components such as the label, the text field, the combo box button, all the way down to progress bar. We also have what is referred to as the swing actions. We have the menu, where we want, if we want to design menu bars, menu items, we can come and use these ones. And we also have what is referred to as the AWT components, which are abstract window toolkits. So the abstract window toolkit component contains components which are platform dependent. That is, they would be displayed according to the view of the operating system. So let's add some few components and play with the look and feel, how we can change the appearance of our UIs in Java Swing. So add a button, we'll add another button, and we'll add a label, and we'll add a text. So we can change how our text will look like. Now let us run it. And this is how our application will look like. We'll modify or change these ones. We exit. So let's call our first button change label. So to do that, we select the button and we go to the properties. Under the properties, we have text, and in the text we just change the name new button to change label text. And the second one, let us call it change label color. So we just increase the size of our button to contain the text. We can as well change the font on our button. We can go to the font and we select what type of font we want. So assuming we want this, we want it bold, and we want the size to be 20, we click OK. So we need to expand it again. So we also do the same. We change the font size. Let's just make it bold and italic and make it 15. And we can change the foreground, assuming whatever color we want. Let's change it to blue. Click OK. So the color of our font has changed. We expand it to change it. We can change the background of our button. We simply go to the background, pick the color of our choice. Let's pick green. Click OK, and the background will change. Let's run it to see how it looks like. So we see our button is green, and this one the text is blue. So we come to the label and we delete the text in the label, so it becomes empty. And we give the label a name. So the variable name, what are we going to call it? Let's call it LBL to say we are looking at a label. LBL display. So it's going to display for us whatever text we want or whatever color we want. So we expand it and we are good to go. Let's also give our buttons names. So the button that will change the label color, let's call it BTN to signify a button. BTN change color. And we call the button that will change the label text to BTN change text. Now we can also work on our text field. Let's move it up a bit. And what name do we want to give to our text field? We can change it to TXT field, and we are done. So we can change the look and feel or the appearance of our UI by simply going to the ribbon that is below the ribbon containing the run. So we can see there is a place called system, or there might be a specific look and feel already there. We click on the drop down list and we can see different looks and feels. So we can come to the GRE and select the look and feel of our choice. Assuming we select the motif, this is how our application would look when we run it. If we select Nimbus, this is how our application would look or appear when we run it. So depending on your choice, you pick the look and feel and you would get the desired effect. So you can rearrange your components by selecting all of them. We come here, we pick the select, we select all of them, and we have the option on where we want them to be aligned. Do we want them to be aligned left edges? Do we want them to be aligned in the center? Do we want them to be aligned right edges? However we want them to be aligned. So to change how your components are arranged and how they look, we don't want that to happen. So we simply undo and we are back to where we started. Again, if we want to change the background on which our components are, that is the content pane, we simply select the content pane, or we select it from the structure, and we go to the background and we select the colors of our choice. Let us assume we want this color, and we click OK. Now our background has changed, and as we can see, when we run it, our application runs, the colors have changed, but there is nothing written on it. Assuming we want to give it a name, version 1.1 or something, we can do that. How do we do that? We simply go to the frame, we can click here, or we select the frame from the structure, and we go to the title. What type of title do we want to give to it? We can click here to expand it more, and we give it the title of our choice. So we say test app version 1.0, and we click OK. So we can see the app has been given a name, and when we run it, that is the name it will have. So test app version 1.0. Now, whenever we run the application, we see that we have the option we can maximize, we can restore, we can stretch it to whatever size we want. So we can decide that we want to change this. If we don't want it to be resizable, we simply select the frame and we go to the properties. We have resizable, we take it to false. So when we run it, the size will be fixed. There's no option for us to maximize. We cannot stretch it. We can check it to be true, it is resizable, and we would be able to change some aspects of the frame. We can see the type we have normal, utility, pop-up as well. So if we select utility, you can see we only have the option to close it. When we run it, we would be able to stretch it, but we would not be able to use the maximize, minimize buttons. We can only close it. If we change it to pop-up and we run it, we would see we would be able to maximize, minimize, and restore. So depending on what you want, you can change it to normal, utility, or pop-up. So let's take it back to normal, and we make it not resizable. So let's check our source view to see if the names we give to our variables have been affected in the source. So we have a label called display, a button called change text, a button called change color, and a variable for the text field. Let us give it txt text field. So when we go to the source view, let us see the button name change text has been created. There is a variable for a button called change color, and we also have a label called display, and our text field has also been given a name called text field. So let's go back to the design and we learn how we can add some event handlers. So we want to add an event handler to the button called change text, so that when the user clicks on this button, it will change the text in the label which has no text. So first of all, let us resize our change label text button to a different size. And to do that, we can simply right click and we go to add event handler. So what type of event handler do we want? Do we want when the mouse is dragged or moved? Do we want when the mouse is clicked or entered? Do we want when the key is pressed or key is released or typed? What type of event handler do we want? So in this case, we want when the mouse is clicked. So we select when mouse is clicked, and it will take us directly into the source view. So this is where we would write our code to change the text in this label. However, the label is declared below the event handler, which means we will not be able to access it. So we first of all need to copy this and put the declaration above the event handler. So we add this and we paste it. This will ensure that when we want to call it, we can now say LBL and we will be able to access it. Initially, assuming we did not do that and we left it where it was and we try to access it, it will not work. So LBL, we would not be able to access that variable called display label. So again, we just started the declaration and we paste it before the button is being declared. And inside we can now say LBL dot set text. What do we want the text to be? You click the button. So this should change the text for us whenever we click the button change text. So let us run it to see what happens. And we run it to see if it will work. When we click change label text, it says click the button. So our event handler is working. So we close it and we go back to our code. So assuming we want to add another event handler on the label, such that when the user clicks on it, you copy the text that is inside the text field and paste it inside the label. And after that, it changes the color of the text in the label. So again, we right click on the button, we go to add event, and we are looking for a mouse event and a mouse click, and it takes us to the source code. So inside the source code, we can see the text field is declared after the event listener. So we need to pick the declaration of the text field above our method to change the text in the label and change the color as well. So we paste it here, and inside our mouse click event, we declare a string variable, string text. We do not initialize it, and we write an if else statement. The reason is if there's nothing in the text field, it should display in the label that there is nothing in the text field. So if the text field dot get text dot equals nothing, we want the text we've declared the string variable to be equals to the text field is empty. Else, we want the text to be equals to, we did not include semicolon. Else, we want the text to be equals to text field dot get text. Now we've been able to get a text in the text field. We simply take this text in the text field and paste it inside the label. So how do we do that? We first of all need to change the font color in the label. So we say LBL display dot set foreground color, and we say color dot what color do we want? We want red. So color red. After that, we set the text in the label to that of the text we are copying from the text. So LBL display dot set text as string, and we are picking it from the text barrier. So when we go back to our design, we save it, go to our design, and we run. When we click change label color, saying text field is empty because there's nothing in there. So let me type something, assuming I type Felicity, and I click. Now it has copied the text here and changed it in the label. Assuming I change it to name, it has changed it as well. So we close it and we are done. So we can observe that anytime we run our application, it doesn't start in the middle of the screen, but it starts elsewhere. So if we want it to start in the middle of the screen, we need to go to the codes and we change something. So the name of our application or the frame is frame test app B. So we go to the source code. This is the name we are looking for. So we can simply copy it and we add the following: frame test app set location, and we are looking for a location relative to, and inside we put now. So when we run it now, it will start in the middle of the screen. So we can see it's starting at the middle, but previously if we comment this out, it will start at the middle. So whenever you want your Java Swing application to start in the middle, you need to put this inside the void initialize. You need to say frame or the name of your frame, set location relative to now, and this will let it start in the middle of the screen. So we close it and we go back. So let's now play with some of our layouts to see how they behave. So I'm going to delete all the things that I put in here and I will play with the layout. So we can go to our source code to see what happened. And in our source code, we can see all the codes we wrote, they have suddenly disappeared. So we have a fresh frame to play with. So we'll only look at 3 layouts. We'll look at how the absolute, the flow, and the border layout they behave. So to change the layout of a particular container, you simply select the layout and you click on that container. So in our frame, if we want the layout to be absolute, we simply select it and we click on it. So by absolute, it allows us to place the components where we want them to be. So for example, if I pick the button and I want it to be placed here, that is where it will be placed. If I pick the text field, wherever that I want it to be placed, assuming I want it to be placed here, that is where it will be placed. So the absolute layout allows us to place our components where we want them to be placed. So let's see how the flow layout works. Delete these. So to change to the flow layout, we simply click on the flow and we select the container we want to change the layout to. So when we click on the container, it changes it to flow layout. We can see at the properties, we also have the layout change to flow. So when I pick the radio button and I take it to the container and I drop it, it places the radio button here. Assuming I want to add a text field, and I select the text field and I drop it, it puts it next to the radio button. So the flow layout allows placement of objects in the left-right form. So I pick another one and I take it, assuming I pick a button. So we can see they are placed in left to right form. So if I pick a label and I take it there, it allows placement, and we can see the radio button is being shifted to the left as the new label is added to the right. So that is how the flow layout works. So let's delete them and see how the border layout works. So to change the layout to border, we can come to the properties and we would be able to select the border layout. If we are not able to select it from the palette, we can select the border layout and it will change it to the border layout. So the border layout allows placement of components in the north, south, east, west, and center positions. Any other position is not acceptable or is not allowed. So when I take my object, assuming I pick the text plane and I send it there, it will only allow me to place it in the west, north, center, east, or south. So assuming I put it in the center, now it's allowed me to place it there. If I pick another component, assuming I pick a combo box and I take it there, it will only allow me to place it at places that have not been occupied. So it cannot allow me to place it in the center because there's an object there. So let me put it at west, and now it is at west. If I take another component, it will only allow me to place it at the north, east, or south. So I place it at east, and I have my component there. So if I pick a button, it will only allow me to put it in the north or south. So I put it in the south, and my button is there. Another button, the only place it will allow me to place it is in the north. So before we run it, let us go to the frame and change it to resizable. And when we run it, the components, when we resize, they change depending on the size of our frame. So that is what we should note about the border layout. So the border layout is one of the best layouts that you can use, though it is relatively complicated. So in our JavaFX practicals, we would be using the JavaFX version of the border layout. So let's delete this, or we just change the layout and see what happens. So we get the content pane, and we change the layout to flow, and we can see the respective change. When we run it, this is how it will look like. So with the flow, the components will remain as they are, the sizes will remain the same, and they are not going to change as the size of the application window changes. So let's close this, delete all the components we've added, and we play with some containers. So the first container we'll play with is the JPanel. Before we do that, we need to set the layout to absolute. So we set it to absolute. Now we pick the JPanel and we position it where we want it to be. So our JPanel has been positioned. So with the JPanel, we can decide how we want the layout to be. Do we want it absolute? Do we want it row border? So assuming we pick absolute again, then we can pick our components and place them wherever we want them to be. So the JPanel basically is a container that can house other components. So we have our components in there, and when we run it, this is what we will see. So when we expand it, we can see the JPanel is only covering a specific location and not the entire window. So we close it and we delete the JPanel to go with all the components that were added to it. So the next one we would play with is the scroll pane, and the scroll pane we would need it when we want our applications the horizontal and vertical scroll bars. So in this case, assuming we want to design a text editor, we can go for the text area, which will have horizontal and vertical scroll bars. Pick that and we place it in our scroll pane. So in this case, let us run it and we see how it goes. So assuming we have a lot of text down, we can see the vertical scroll bar has appeared, so we can scroll through. If we have more text horizontally, we would also be able to see the horizontal scroll bar, which will enable us to scroll as well. So we can see if we are designing applications that will take scrolls or scroll bars, we need to employ the scroll pane in doing that. So let's close it and play with a different one. The next one we'll look at is a split pane. So we select it and we drag it to resize to what we want. So the split pane will ensure that we have two panes, the left side and the right side. So in the left side, we can decide what we want to put there. The right side, we can decide what we want to put there. So if we go to the left side, assuming we want to put text area, we select it, and that is what will be in the left side. If we go to the right side, we can also put another text area, and that is what we will get. Now if we run it, we would see it in this form where we can adjust the splitter. So we have text on one side and text on the other side as well. So I will not go through all the containers or all the components that we have. I will simply delete the split pane, and we would look at how we would be able to do our practicals as a conclusion to introduction to Java Swing application development.